Hello and thanks for staying with us. This is Atlantic Television Network and the program is Atlantic Blowout. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday edition. And let me, on behalf of ATN, the Atlantic Television Network management and staff, felicitate with our Muslim brothers and sisters on the celebration of Eid al-Kabir and pray Almighty Allah to grant us all peace and more stable country. And also to appeal to those holding those innocent school children captive to please use this season of celebration to free them so they can reunite with their families. That is one. And also, as we celebrate, let's not forget to keep social distancing as the third wave of COVID-19 is still threatening by the corner. As federal government place Lagos, Oyo, Rivers, FCT and Kano states on red alert as part of this. Now, the FCT has issued a fresh warning as authorities have directed all Eid prayers to hold in an open space with total compliance to all COVID-19 protocols. Also, on a security issue, that the IGP has assured Nigerians of improved security during the celebration of Eid Kabir on Tuesday and Wednesday and beyond to place security in all areas as they celebrate. Welcome. This is Atlantic Blowout. My name is Chituga Diamond, and we have a lot to discuss today. And we talk about it, and then of course we invite our guests will join us and to throw analysis, and they give us more information on everything we want to do today. Don't forget that there's been series of agitations on the PIB. Also, the electronic voting argument is still there, raising the heat is still on, even though the National Assembly is on recess. But it's a hanging issue and needs to be deliberated and also needs to be harmonized. And to get a country, let's be proud of our country to say, yeah, indeed, we have a country. We have a country devoid of anything. And the clamor for restructuring is also on one side. So many issues for this dear country, Nigeria. Which way do we go? The people's choice or the leaders? And sometimes, sometimes we say that the electorate also contributes to the problems of the country. And someone will ask, how? No, when a lawmaker representing you is not representing you properly, and what do you do? I know there was a time that was they had a referendum, so we call back the lawmaker. If it's not representing you well, you call him or her back. How many of us today is doing that? Well, that's just to say about a few. And as Muslims celebrate today, also everyone have to be at alert to make sure that no mayhem is created anywhere. And we're supposed to have our Muslim faithful, the clerics. You know, at this moment now, they're already conducting their prayers. But hopefully, in the course of this program, we'll get across to them and maybe the time come and tell us more about the celebration today. All right. 13 police officers have been killed after bandits ambushed mobile police operatives who were responding to distress call in a community around Kurera Mota village in Bugudu local government area, that's in Zamfara state. Now, while confirming the attack, the spokesperson of the state police command, SP Mohammed Shehu, said it took place on Sunday. SP Shehu revealed that the bandits also suffered a heavy casualty, adding that the police have launched a manhunt. Now, the State Police Commissioner Hussein Rabiu, while visiting some officers who were injured in the attack, assured the people of Zamfara that the force will not discourage the officers and men of the command from discharging their mandate of protecting lives and property of the citizens. Now, here again, the federal government is warning that the media should clamp down on reporting bandit activities and the kidnap in the country. And here there are also unleashing mayhem on the innocent people. Which way do we go? Should we fold our arms and allow the bandits to keep carrying out their inhuman acts on innocent citizens? or we should keep talking about it, then the security that the authorities concerned should do something drastically to put an end to this inhuman nature on people. We'll clamp down on it as long as the federal government authorities concerned, the security operatives are ready to do the needful. Now, meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, has assured the nation of sustained effort by the efforts in fighting crimes and criminality and improving public safety and security across the country. This was contained in a statement signed by the police, the Force Public Relations Officer, Frank Mba, on Saturday. In the statement, the IGP charged commissioners of police in all the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory and their supervisory assistant inspectors general of police to beef up security in their areas of responsibility ahead of the Eid Kabir season and beyond. Well, let's pray that we yield to the voice of the IGP on the directive. Also, I know that in River State it's a bit calm, and we pray that that calmness will continue as well. As the River State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps also has deployed 357 of its personnel across the state ahead of the Eid Kabir celebration. Now, the NSCDC State Commandant Aliyu Baturi said the move is part of measures to ensure a hitch-free Salah celebration in the state. A statement by the Assistant Commandant Ogutwasi Michael said the personnel are to ensure all recreation centers, places of worship, oil pipeline installations, and identified flashpoints are heavily secured before, during, and after the celebration. He addressed the residents to report all suspicious movement around them to the nearest security outpost for prompt response. Now, that's what we're talking about. So everyone should be on guard while we celebrate. Everyone should be on guard and ensure that you report any suspicious movement by everywhere around you. So you say something, say something, and do something. But what you see, if not okay by you, you're not comfortable, what you do is to call the security operatives, the authorities in charge, to take actions and, of course, mount surveillance around where that suspect movement is about. Now, River State Governor Yese Wike says his administration is poised to build, furnish, and deliver the best campus of Nigerian Law School in Port Harcourt, River State capital. The governor gave the assurance at the ceremony marking the official flag-off of civil engineering works for the establishment of the law campus at Rumeme town of Obiakpo local government area on Saturday. According to Governor Wike, if the Rivers government had not initiated the flag off and construction of the 2 hostels and an auditorium, the Yanagua campus of the Nigerian Law School in Bayelsa State in South Nigeria, it would have missed the opportunity to request for a Port Harcourt campus.
It is important today. People are saying, what a wonderful project, what a wonderful decision that we took. I'm sure every Rivers man and woman, every person who has clear hearts, who is not going to play politics, will know that the decision of starting law school in Port Harcourt is very, very key. Not only will it help in reducing the number of those who will ordinarily wouldn't have gone to law school at the time they finish, but will also improve the economy of the state. It will improve the economy. The students will come here, they will go out, they will buy things, they will eat outside, they will come back to school. And that day, somehow, the economy will be growing. So, people should not look at this as if It doesn't make sense. It does. Forget about being in the legal profession. There will be employment created here.
Governor Wike acknowledged a political consideration given to his request by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, despite his being a major critic of the APC-led federal government. The Rivers State Governor also announced that the Rivers State government has approved subvention for the running of the law school for the next 4 years. The flag-off was performed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, as represented by the Chairman, Council of Legal Education and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Nnemeka Igigi. As more schools across the country embark on the midterm break, some educationists have stressed the need for more English teachers to be employed in Nigerian public schools, where the teachers to students rates is poor in the special report. Our news correspondent Flora Duke illustrates the effects of the lunch on learning.
Communication is the string that holds the world together. Thanks to the concept of a universal language, which has made mutual communication in any part of the world possible and relatively easy. This globally accepted universal language is English. English is a language that has aspects of other languages, thus making it easier for learners to learn and follow. In today's world, knowing English is a prerequisite. To be able to speak fluently, the knowledge must be obtained from a learning environment, which is the 4 words of the school. Speaking with Atlantic Television News, Dr. Uwuma Ugu lamented the levels of English teachers' deficit in primary and secondary school.
Language in Nigeria, we speak and write in English. All our official communications are done in English. Language of education, language of governance, language in Nigeria is a nation of multiple ethnic groups, and for us to communicate we need the language, and now we have an official language which is English. So we speak, we write in English. Yes, it is important to study our own languages, but the fact that English is an official language means we have to be competent. Our students have to be competent. In our schools, we have few English teachers that are handling quite a huge number of students, which makes it difficult for these teachers to teach and handle the children on personal needs.
What strategies can teachers employ in teaching English to students for easy comprehension and speaking proficiency? Educationist Uche Silverline buttress this point.
Because if you compare the number of students or pupils we have in schools to the number of teachers we have in their classrooms, I would say it is actually inappropriate. So if we can have a situation where we have more teachers handling those students and pupils, there will be great improvements both in their spoken language and then the written language as well. So there's need for more teachers, more English teachers in particular. If we need to improve on the communication skills of the children, more teachers are definitely, at least 1 teacher to 10 pupils at most.
And so maths is worse. We need more maths teachers. We need more science teachers. Not only maths, all the science subjects are suffering. There are no teachers to handle those subjects.
Above all, what measures can government and parents play to ensure spoken English are well articulated by children? Flora Duke reporting for ATN Port Harcourt.
Indeed, they need science students and teachers in school at this time. Well, we know we got much teachers here, but maybe to deploy them to where they needed them most. Financial experts say Nigeria should continue to expect a rise in inflation and a drop in the country's foreign reserves, going by recent data showing that the government spent a huge chunk of its revenue on debt servicing, according to a review of the budgetary performance of the 2020 Appropriation Act about 72% of government revenue was spent on debt servicing, putting the government's debt servicing to revenue right at 72%. Now, speaking with Atlantic Television, a financial expert and president of Rivers State Entrepreneurs and Investor Forum, Ibifari Bob Mawel, said rather than borrowing more money, the Nigerian government should think in the direction of exploring untapped sectors that can improve the economy of the nation.
So I think other than looking at the challenges that are right in front of us, I think what we should be looking at for is how to get us out of it. The country has a huge private sector, capital that is yet to be tapped. And I think the fact that they gave such blue chip companies like Dangote, like the Hess Holdings, and a whole lot of other businesses such opportunities to build those major infrastructures. Because whenever the country borrows money, they borrow the chunk of those monies are borrowed for infrastructural purposes. And in every society that is growing, in every economy that is growing, the government has little to do with major infrastructural development.
Another financial analyst, Ignatius Chukwu, said continuous borrowing and servicing of the country's debt with over 70% of its generated revenue will result in high price of commodities, which will create a volatility in the economy.
Using over 70% of your income to pay debt alone means when you service your debt, you become a good boy, then you borrow the entire money you need to spend again. You borrow. I laugh at those who say National Assembly should stop approving loans. But whatever the case, as we borrow, the number one implication to the economy is that inflation rate has to drive up. Number one is that our foreign reserve will be going down. Our relationship between Naira and dollar will be going negative to Naira. And that's why at the point to touch 510 Naira per dollar, you have official wisdom, autonomous market, and black market. You will now begin to have different windows of your forex.
And we look forward when the inflation will definitely come down. We were arguing sometime, yes, some off camera, the inflation rate, that whatever goes up in Nigeria doesn't come down. Like some people who are during this celebration as well, were saying the ram they bought for 50,000, that's for last Salah, and the previous ones, so to say, then bought for 50,000. But even now, they can't even lay their hands on rams, and they're worth over 120,000, and sometimes it's 150,000. And then we're looking forward for a day where everything will come, and there should be price control in this country, just like it's done in other civilized countries as well. Now, Senate President Ahmed Lawan has advanced reasons to justify the position taken by the Senate on the electronic transmission of election results. Now, Lawan explained that the upper chamber voted the way it did in defense of about half of the Nigerian voters whose votes may not be counted with immediate deployment or application of electronic transmission of election results. Now, the Senate President said this when he spoke to journalists at the weekend while on a courtesy visit to his Yobe North Senatorial District. Lawan also faulted some media reports that insinuated that only the APC senators voted against the immediate application of the electoral transmission of results, not that the votes cast on either side of the subject matter cut across party lines and regional divides. Recall that the National Communication Commission had said that only about 50% of the Nigerian environment could possibly have their result transmitted electronically. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has the capacity to transmit election results electronically from remote areas across the country. Then INEC National Chairman and Commissioner for Information and Voter Education, Faustus Okoye, gave the indications during an interview on Saturday. His remark came after an executive commissioner at the Nigerian Communications Commission, Adeke Adewole, told lawmakers at the House of Representatives on Friday that only 50% of the country has the 3G coverage required for transmission. Okay, and that will form a talking point this morning on Atlantic Blowout. When we come back from our break, don't forget that this is Atlantic Blowout on Atlantic Television Network, where we bring you all the speed analysis, news, and in-depth reportage all around the globe. Stay. We'll be right back. Please don't go away.
We anchor on the facts, breaking news, and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage, facts, professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation.
For the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and
Anchor on the facts, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage. Facts, professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
Thanks for staying with us and welcome back. This is Atlantic Blowout on Atlantic Television Network. Now, the e-transmission of result, Buhari's aid defend rejection, NBA, all the say resolution illegal, selfish, and of course, we look at the implication on 2023 election. Now, the Nigerian Bar Association over the weekend took a swipe at the National Assembly over its decision on the electronic transmission of election results. Now, the National Publicity Secretary of the NBA, Rapula Anduka, in an interview with reporters, said the decision to attach condition to the Electoral Commission of the election results had whistled down the powers of the Independent Electoral Commission. That's the INEC. Now, INEC is to be independent, having power to do what it's supposed to do. But the power had been tampered with by their decision. Now, Babafemi Ojudu, in an interview with journalists on Sunday, defended the Senate, saying issues raised by the lawmakers should be considered. Now, hear this. On Thursday, the Senate voted that the Nigerian Communication NCC, with the National Assembly's approval, would determine whether INEC could transmit results electronically or not. Again, on Friday, the House of Representatives passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, maintaining the controversial clause 52(3) as presented amid protests, especially by members of the minority caucus. So what right does the clause give to INEC? The clause simply states that INEC has the direct discretion to determine when, where, and how voting and transmission of results will be done. So this brings us to the comment by the NBA spokesperson Nduka, who described the decision of the lawmakers, particularly the senators, as selfish in his interview with reporters in his ward. I have live in the studio with me two legal practitioners who will be taking a look at this decision. Whether or not it's right, they will tell us in their opinion. I have Barrister Asimi Adams. You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome. Good to have you.
Yeah,
and also have Barrister Eugene Ode, a legal practitioner in the house. Eugene, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ituga.
Thank you so much for coming in short a time.
Thanks for having me too.
Yes, okay. Barrister Eugene, let's start with you.
Okay.
In the prologue, you've looked at, you listened carefully. We know we're abreast of what has been happening even before the National Assembly went on recess. And would you say that the senators took a decision that would suit them?
Well, your prologue has captured the sentiments of majority of Nigerians. I'm also very impressed and happy that the bar has spoken. And you know that the bar has always been in the forefront when issues like this bordering on constitutional, what one may call constitutional crisis emerge. The bar has always stood strong to educate and enlighten the public. And I align myself with the position of the bar in the sense that it is not just enough for the senators or indeed the National Assembly to come up with things like this and feel maybe because they have the power to legislate and make laws they can just make laws at their whims and caprices. The powers they wield is derived from this very constitution which created the National Assembly and which also creates rights, obligations, you know, for every citizen living within this country. The Constitution itself is the referee. So if the National Assembly goes outside the prescription of the Constitution itself will whip them in line. So to say that they are lawmakers does not give them the power, the right to, by legislation, break the law. Because no one is above the law. Anyone who goes outside the provisions of the law will always definitely face legal consequences. This proposed amendment, if you ask me, has no benefit, so to speak, to the majority of Nigerians whom they represent. It is selfish, self-seeking, it is politically motivated, aimed at massaging their egos. The truth is that a lot of them know that they have failed Nigerians.
Are you sure they know that?
They know. A lot of them know. You know, if you see their body language, you already can tell that a lot of them are jittery. And that's why you're seeing the cross-carpeting happening here and there. A lot of them have lost touch with the base. A lot of them are no longer popular in their constituencies. And Nigerians are sharpening their PVCs and they are watching and seeing the reaction of majority of Nigerians.
Are you sure they're actually doing that?
I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
Nigerians are warming up to speak to them in a language they understand.
Okay.
We are in the era of speaking languages now. So Nigerians are gearing up to speak to them in a language they understand. And a lot of them are aware of this reality. And so this, to me, is a very silly way of attempting to escape the reality that confronts them. You know, which is tinkering with the Electoral Act and creates opportunities, legal opportunities, you know, for manipulation of the system to aid their if for want of words, sinister motive of clinching and retaining power in 2023.
Okay.
But it's quite unfortunate that they won't be able to have their way because the Constitution will always whip them back in line.
All right, let's pray for. Let's see to that. To Bryce Adams, what's your take on it? Are you of the opinion that the senators took a decision that suits them, so to say?
The senators, in my opinion, which I have to reiterate again here, they made that law ad hominem, something, you know, a proclamation that will suit their whims and caprices. You know, because if you look at it, it is not just only in Nigeria. If you could give me some time, let me give a litany of a little history.
I pray if the time will permit.
Yes, just a second. You know, in a country they call Côte d'Ivoire, I'm going to tell you how legislators, people who are purveyors of laws, who are supposed to make laws of people, how they kind of tinker with laws that have caused problems all over the world. In Côte d'Ivoire, some years back, the legislative arm tinkered with the electoral processes, in fact the constitution, by amending it to suit their own whims and caprices, excluding some participants. Some would be participants that they thought would threaten their positions. Alassane Ouattara was a popular man that was known all over Côte d'Ivoire. Unfortunately, he was not from Côte d'Ivoire by birth. He was from Burkina Faso. That is, his parents and everybody came from Burkina Faso to Côte d'Ivoire to trade. Now, when he got to a level where he became so powerful in the state, he was to contest that election. But the Senate, or the National Assembly of Côte d'Ivoire, did a similar amendment like this to suit their whims and caprices, to exclude people whose parents were not born in Côte d'Ivoire from participating in that election. That caused an uproar in the whole region that almost brought that nation to its ruination. Now, coming to Nigeria, if you look at, before the Electoral Act was even passed, 2010, there was this hula baloo. There was confusion. The Senate came over themselves, head over heels, controversies here and there, trying to impute and insert clauses that will suit them. We thought that they had taken over, they've done all they were supposed to do by that particular passing of that act. It took so many years before that particular act could come into play. And now, to amend the Electoral Act by this bill, by that section 52 sub 3 or so.
52 clause.
Now, if you look at it, there is no more explanation to say than the input of the senators who were against that particular electronic transmission is the fact that they want to amend that particular clause to suit their whims and caprices. Because they know that if that particular clause 52 sub 3 should scale through, about 80 to 90% of those who are there will never return to the Senate. Because with due respect to the constitution of the House, I want to say that most of them that got into that office through the back door. With due respect to them, I'm not generalizing.
When you say back door, what exactly do you mean by back door? Because we know that there was an election.
Yes, there was.
People voted and people were elected.
In fact, what I mean by back door is that rigging. I'm not generalizing. I'm saying some of them.
We wouldn't say that.
Yes. So I want to say with due respect, that is how they came. Okay, let me moderate that one. Now most of them who are there, if they allow this section to go through so that results will be transmitted electronically, most of them will not come there. Okay. Because transmission of results electronically will do what? Remove and forestall any inch of rigging in our election, or to reduce to a barest minimum that most of them will not win election through a fair and credible elections. That is why they amended that particular, they want that particular district to scale through to suit their own purposes.
Okay, Eugene, also, we also heard that one of the lawmakers also said that some areas too, there are no signals, no network. I mean, how does it sound? How does it sound to us? A country as developed as Nigeria, is there any place that in Nigeria right now that people do not communicate effectively?
Look, whether you believe it or not, whoever raised that issue raised a very germane issue. I mean, we are all witnesses to how the card reader fared during the last election. In fact, from 2015, we've been having challenges with the card reader, one of which is the issue of network, and the other is the issue of electricity, lack of electricity. That is the reality in Nigeria. Whether you believe it or not, that is the true situation in Nigeria. Our network is not as sharp and ready for the kind of high-tech election that we plan to use it for. I think we should slow down a little bit on some of these high-tech methods in the conduct of our election. If you see what happened in America, as advanced as America is, the last election that produced the present President Joe Biden, you remember all the controversies surrounding the issue with, tampering with the results, electronically and the likes. Britain, that is also so very technologically advanced, has not accepted electronic method of voting or in the election 100%. I think that Nigeria is not as developed as this country, so we should tread a little bit with caution how we accept electronic methods.
No, I don't understand. Let's just break it down. Let's understand which part you said. To slow down, that Nigeria is not ripe yet to transmit results electronically.
No, I'm not saying. I'm only responding because you said a senator said
yes.
One of the reasons why he's opposed to electronic method is because of network. And I'm saying that look, whether you believe it, these are some of the issues that must be taken into account while making such decisions. Because the truth is that that's the reality on ground. Okay, it's the reality on ground. Whether we like it or not, we have to consider these issues. If we're able to tackle these issues, I think that's the best way to go. Okay. If we're able to deal with these issues and fix them properly, there couldn't be anything better than this option to transmit results electronically. My only grouse about this issue is the fact that the National Assembly is attempting to take the powers from INEC, to usurp the powers of INEC and get involved in the process.
Because it has to come, there's approval and that of
Exactly,
the NCC.
exactly. And then the NCC that is directly under the president and that is under the executive arm of government is also given a role in an activity that is wholly supposed to be manned and managed by INEC. That is the only grounds I have about this. Other than that, the other areas are things that I believe we can work on between now and that time. We can get it right. If we can get it right, that's the way to go.
All right. But Adams,
yes, I think with due respect, yes. I beg to differ
from there.
Yeah, a little. Our point of divergence. My point of divergence is this. You see, when people talk about network, I want to ask the question to Nigerians: what kind of network? Are you talking about the telephony network?
That's what we're talking about here right now.
Now, as it is, I don't think it's the telephony network that we should use for an agency like INEC. INEC has said that they have the capabilities, to transmit results from any part of the country. A good example that I want to say is this. We are on terrestrial television right now. There's what we call digital television or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm using the word DSTV.
Are you saying right now we are not on terrestrial?
Okay, it's not terrestrial. It's on cable. Okay, good.
We're not terrestrial.
Good. Yes. On cable as it is. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm sorry, I'm to use the word. If I get to my village, I can watch your station from my village.
That's right.
Without my phone.
That's right.
There's a method for which you have adopted for you to reach out to the whole Nigeria and even beyond this place. You understand the point now? And it's a special method that is called satellite television, as the case may be. INEC is not an organization that should be cubicled into MTN, whatever the telephonic kind of arrangement that we have. They should have a special database. They should have a special portal that is shot into the satellite so that when the election is also about 1 or 2, 3 days. You understand? So, depending on...
But the collection of results doesn't take about 1 day.
I know it does not take a day or two. What I'm trying to say is that INEC should be able to have a satellite base like what other televisions that are using satellite are using. Like Udume said that he does not get a network in his... I don't doubt that. But Udume cannot tell me that he does not watch DSTV in his house, even watching your program right now as we are in Borno State there. There's a special platform that has been used for that purpose. And I'm saying that INEC has said that they have such special platform that should be used. So they should not be gagged. It should not be an excuse. Secondly is this. Now, in areas that you don't even have a transmission or maybe a coverage, network coverage as the case may be, I have witnessed it. If I'm traveling from here to my state, in Edo State, between Port Harcourt and Edo, there are areas I cannot even communicate. The network will go blank. But if I send a message, and as I move towards Warri or where there's network, that message will be delivered immediately and uploaded to whoever I want to do. We have such, kind of, mode that INEC should use. And I want to say with due respect, it is not, the problem is that if you do not try something and you begin to sit down and say it will not work, whereas you have not done any to even test run, that I don't think is tenable. Now, going down to memory lane again. In Edo and Ondo elections, what did INEC do? Is it not the same method they did? You understand? And you find out that from my own village where I was in Edo, I voted during an election.
The same method
yes,
they used.
The method of electronic transmission to their portal. They had a portal we had to send results to. People from the world, polling units or whatever, sent results to those portals. That was the reason why you found that the APC people could not even go there to contest that result, even though they went, but they were flatly defeated. Because in my village, when we went there are areas we went to. We were trying to transmit results to people in Port Harcourt here, even those from Edo origin. We tried to, send results to them, but there was no network. But we typed the results that we had there, and in about 1, 2, 3, 4 hours when we left that place, the message has already gone to them, and they saw it from Edo State. You understand the point? So I am saying it is not an excuse for them to do a blank out of electronic transmission. And there is no need for them to hit that data. Don't get to freckle with that particular clause to kind of say that you want to subject the dependents.
No.
You understand the point now of INEC to your own whims and caprices. For instance, you are saying that NCC has to come and tell you, assuming
with their approval.
With their approval, assuming the DG of NCC is an interested party.
He is.
And he decides to come.
You
understand?
I'm not.
To be very honest,
directly under the executive
I'm saying that assuming, without cause, assuming he's a member or an interested party, and assuming he comes with a report, and you are going to work on that report, then two is this: when you bring that report before the assembly, what now happens is this: in an assembly that is populated by those who are against the original transmission of that particular bill, what are they going to happen is that they are going to still knock it down, as the case may be. So please let them not gag INEC.
All right, Eugene. Yeah. Now let's say that if we don't transmit election results electronically, do you see it as a terrible thing, or maybe a myopic way of thinking? Just to buttress what you said, that Nigeria it should take time to make sure that we get it right. Just like the senator who said that his village has no network coverage and water. What would be your best advice in this? And again, where does this leave INEC, I ask?
Now, let me take it from where my learned friend left off, where especially the area where he said he was dovetailing from. I don't think he really deviated from what I was saying. He more or less gave flesh to what I actually raised, which is the fact that this process has to be tried and tested. It's the best thing that can happen to our democracy for now, but we have to make sure that it works. There's no need rushing. There's no need for us to be too hasty. We need to make sure it is foolproof. So if INEC has come up to say, I'm not aware, he has probably better information. If INEC has come up to say they have the capacity and the know-how to do it, then I mean, there's nothing that anybody should think bad about the idea. It's the best thing that can happen to us. The reason is because we have had elections in the past where after collation of results, from the period when the results are collated to even the period when the final announcement is, we discovered that a lot of discrepancies happen along the way. Right? Results are being swapped, changed. Even during tribunal, you see these things come up.
Alleged.
Yes. No, most times, no. This is a reality because it's been proven, you know, several times where someone even won the election and was just about to be sworn in, and the court found out that there were discrepancies. And these discrepancies were actually born out of the process we're talking about. So to prevent this is the reason why this is just the best way to go. So that even from the polling units, everybody who is contesting the election will already begin to have an idea, have a feeler of what the outcome, the general outcome is going to be like. And it's faster. It's within minutes. And the whole country knows who their next president is going to be. This idea of waiting for days, you know, that they are bringing votes from Kanu, that they are bringing votes from Bauchi, they are bringing votes from, you know, trailer loads of votes from, and all that. That has to stop. That has to stop. And that will help us, you know, build credibility, which is what we are looking for in our electoral process. Now, to talk about the powers of INEC, at this point, I would like us to just go straight to the Constitution so that people get to understand that the fact that the National Assembly is involved in this enterprise doesn't mean that it's going to stand, you know, because the Constitution will always prevail. The idea is this. Section 1 of the Constitution is that says, I think subsection 3, correct me, that the Constitution is the principal law, the ground norm, okay, from which every other law derives its validity. Therefore, if any law is inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution, that other law shall be null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. The Electoral Act is subservient and subject to the provisions of this Constitution. It doesn't matter how they play with the Electoral Act. If it doesn't conform with the spirit and letter of the Constitution, the Electoral Act will fail, become null and void. Now, Section 158 of the Constitution...
For the interest of time, can we wrap up? So because we have to run.
Section 158 of the Constitution says, independent Independent National Electoral Commission shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other authority or persons.
Which is what is playing out now.
Exactly. So INEC, by the provisions of these strong wordings of the Constitution, cannot be subjected to the control of either the National Assembly or the Executive. We said something about personal interests of whoever is in charge of NCC. Look, by the creation of NCC, whoever is the head of that organization is an interested party because he answers to the president and by extension the executive. So if you give him such powers, he's definitely going to do the bidding of his boss. Definitely. If he's giving express orders, look, this is how we want you to tweak this thing. This is how we want you to tweak this thing.
Could that be the reason why they said NCC and get approval, NCC and the Senate on their approval before they can transfer?
That is the point. That's where the manipulation, that's where they are trying to manipulate the system. And we are saying, no, it can't happen.
All right. We need to go now, sir.
Yes.
We need to go. Adam, so
my final word is this. No matter how cosmetic they want to, kind of color that section, Nigerian people know exactly what they want. E-transmission of results is the best. They should not manipulate it.
All right, thank you so much. Well, we'll be taking a look at the fallout of the transmission of election results and the implication in 2023 election. And our guest has been Barrister Asimi Adams. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, I have Barrister Eugene Ode, Chief.
Thank you very much. Anytime.
Let me dash you your title.
I have it already.
He has a title back. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Atlantic Blowout on Atlantic Network. We'll be right back after the break. Please don't go away.
We anchor on the facts, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage. Facts. Professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation.
For the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and
Anchor on the facts, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage, facts, professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
Thanks for being there with us. It's still Atlantic Blowout and Atlantic Television Network. And well, in our second session, my third guest, so to say, is here. Has to also take a look at the Nigerian Bar Association over the weekend. I took a swipe at the National Assembly over its decision on the electronic transmission of election results. Now, the National Publicity Secretary of the NBA, said Fondoka, said in an interview with journalists that decision attached to conditions to the Electoral Commission transmission of election results had whistled down the powers of the Independent National Electoral Commission. That's the INEC. INEC is to be independent, having powers to do what it's supposed to do. But the power have been tampered with by the decision of the lawmakers. Okay, Babafemi Odudu, in an interview also with journalists on Sunday over the weekend, defended the Senate, saying issues raised by the lawmakers should be considered. Okay, I have with me in the studio also to take a look at this and then the powers that the senators are giving to NCC, and of course trying to cripple the powers of INEC in an electronic transmission of elections result and the implication towards 2023 election. I have in the studio with me a former PDP publicity secretary, River State, and now chief of staff to the chairman of Ikwere local government area, Honorable Darlington Oji. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good to have you join us here.
My pleasure.
Okay, let's go straight now. We all are abreast of what's been happening even before the National Assembly went on recess. And these issues are still hanging and will be hanging until they return in September to trash it out and everybody can move forward. I want to know your immediate reaction when this whole thing was played out in the floor, in the red chambers.
First, thank you for giving me the opportunity to lend my voice on this issue. My first impression was that it shows clearly that those senators that actually voted no are not actually very close to their constituents. If they are, they would have been hearing what Nigerians are yearning for. 309 people put together cannot be bigger than 200 million people, so to say. That is to say that they are in a representative capacity, and whatever thing that is the position of the generality of the Nigerian people should surpass whatever their interest is. But we saw a clear party line action at the floor of the Senate instead of looking at what Nigerian people are saying. So for me, that clause is inimical to Nigerian people. It's unacceptable, and we cannot, under our watch INEC being subjected to another authority when the Constitution is very clear that any law that is not in conformity with the Constitution of Nigeria, of course, the Constitution will take precedence. And in this case, what they are doing, except there is an amendment, it cannot. INEC is supposed to be an independent body. So with what they are doing, there shows clearly that there are some cockroaches in the cupboard of some people that they are scared. Because if electronic process is being passed, the result should be transmitted electronically. A lot of persons will not have the opportunity to sit at the red chamber, even at the green chamber. So they are naturally scared of losing their source of livelihood. But I think that Nigeria will come out of this. We will continue to speak until our opinion and the earning and aspirations of Nigerians are being heard by them.
Okay, well, we know that the reality is that the legislature has the constitutional power to make laws. However, making a law like this may be a way to tie the hands of the Independent Electoral Commission, that's the INEC, preventing the commission from doing the needful and the belittling their powers guaranteed by the Constitution. Now, Nigerians are not happy about this. The law should be made for man and not man for the law, as said by the Lawyers Association. What's your take? And again, and let's look at the implication in 2023.
Of course, everything that is happening now is gearing up of 2023 election. Like I said here, some people are scared of what will happen to them, losing their source of livelihood. You know, to some people, they are supposed to be life legislators, while whether they pass through the due process or not. And remember that the people that came up with this law are the INEC themselves that said, look, we have the capacity to do electronically transmitted results. And yesterday, if you watch, after the NCC man spoke that MTN have covered about 40% or thereabout, but MTN also came out to say it's not correct, that covered over 80% of the areas of Nigeria. And look, some days ago or weeks ago or months ago, there was an enumeration that was done by the same INEC trying to know, they call it indicators, census indicators. It shows clearly that Nigeria, all part of Nigeria is just in GPS. Just a glance and you get it. So for me, what they are running away from is just a better doomsday that will come. Nigerians are asking that elections should be electronically transmitted. The implication is that if that happens, people will now begin to, respect the vote of people. But we have seen in the past where people are not interested whether you vote them or not. They have a way of, finding themselves through the scene. So for me, Nigerians' position is in tandem with the position of the. And in fact, I listened to Senator Ojo Okalo when he was saying that everybody in this Senate is in agreement with electronic transmission of results. But what is that but? If he's not afraid, then you should support and vote yes. What was happening there is your party line. My brother, 2023, nobody knows what is coming up with. But if you feel you have done well for the people, you are leading the people like you have done well, don't be scared. By 2023, they will use their PVC to either say you have done well or you have not done well. That is the fear everybody is putting. But I want to tell you, INEC has the capacity. They have said so, that they have the capacity, and we know they have the capacity. Look at the Edo election. We saw what happened there. And again, don't forget that Supreme Court have also taken a position that INEC has the powers to regulate, set a timetable, and decide how elections should be organized. So you cannot subject such body to NCC because there will be other implications. In fact, there will be confusion at the end of the day because interest must, clash. And once interest clashes, then what will happen? Like I listened to one of your guests who was saying, if NCC, are not comfortable with the position of INEC, when you go to National Assembly, of course, it's one straight line because of the partisanship politics that we are playing today. So I am of the opinion that they should allow INEC remain as independent as it is. Very recently now, INEC has been proving in one election. I know that no election can be perfect or 100% perfect, but they have been, doing their best. Why not Nigerians support them? And I am looking up to President Muhammad Buhari to stand firm on these issues because he has said if there is nothing he will leave for Nigerian people, he will leave a transparent electoral process. And this is part of it. So trying to muzzle or, hand twist the hand of INEC to achieve the same usual result they used to have by writing result, by coming to hijack result, you won't go and campaign on election day during collation period, you bring military people to go. But when there is a electronically transmitted pattern, it will reduce death, it will reduce hijack, it will reduce electoral thuggery, and people will begin to, take their campaign and the policies they want to do for the people and programs to the people. If the people key in, they will vote you. And if they don't key in, they say no, that they prefer the other one. So for me, I think that what they are doing is neither here nor there. But Nigerians will keep speaking until they will understand that 200 million Nigerians are more than 309 members of the National Assembly.
Opinion that election results should be transmitted electronically.
Electronically. And like one guest said, even if we don't have coverage everywhere, all of us are using...
that brings me to the next question to ask that the senator who said that he does not have a network service in his area. Do you think it's sincere or it's just a way of just making an excuse to just create a sympathy or maybe part of the game?
That's why I said that some of those that voted no shows clearly that they are not close to their constituencies. Otherwise, that senator should even be ashamed because part of his responsibility is to attract such devices to his community or to his area. He has the capacity to speak to people. Please bring this kind of device to my area, bring this antenna to my area so that my people can be reconnected to the entire system. And he's telling us. And don't forget, even if you send a text message in the worst remote area in Nigeria, even if it doesn't deliver, as soon as you come out to anywhere that there is network, it will automatically activate itself. So this idea of this one or that way is just, they are just trying to make a story where there is no story. For us, whether he has network in his area or not, MTN has said that they have covered over 80%, they have over 80% coverage in Nigeria. And INEC, which is the electoral umpire, is saying that we have the capacity to, transmit election result electronically. What is their problem? If you don't have anything to hide, I listened to one of the senators from Kanu, where he was saying that those that are clamoring for electronic transmission of results are people that want to, hike the system, and so that they can manipulate the result. And it sounds very funny. It sounds very funny because INEC has a very strong cyber. And what is INEC? INEC is even a federal parastatal. So what is their fear? And the man is saying, the people are saying that, look, we want to be just to Nigerian people. INEC has had a dent over time. And they are saying, look, we can come up with a result that will at least be 80% to 90% accepted by the general public. Just recently, we saw what happened in the US, where, naturally before in the past, elections are hardly taken to court. If they defeat you, you accept it. But when the process is not clear, naturally you begin to complain. So I think that when we give INEC trial on this issue, Nigerians will begin to get used to it.
But INEC has also,
will be reduced and all of
said
that.
that they can do that. INEC have said that they can transmit election results electronically.
That's what I'm saying. INEC is in the part of Nigerian people.
Definitely.
Because INEC, first of all, propagated this bill to National Assembly to say, look, we have, you know, anything that happens, you can't imagine a situation where an INEC officer will be saddled with the responsibility of conducting an election, declaring. At the point of collation, somebody will come and hijack, in fact, molest the INEC officer, declare result in his favor, go back and blame INEC for not doing what is right. And the people are saying, look, even our life is in danger. If we do electronic transmission of result, a lot of things will be laid to abeyance. For instance, there will be no point doing trickery, because this result, first of all, will even be transmitted from the polling unit level. And remember, the hijackers of result materials are not always at the polling unit level. It's always at the collation point. And if the result have already left the polling unit, no matter what you do at the collation, it will not tally. And it will be an issue for reconciliation. So, what is their fear? And my worry today for Nigerians is that they don't make a bad law because you are sitting on that. All of us are sitting on the gag of a gunpowder, which will explode one day. So, if you ask me, I will tell them to allow this process to continue. And with the kind of politics we are seeing in Nigeria, where somebody will be PDP in the morning, APC in the afternoon, the next day, without without no consciousness of how my people feel. So for me, if that begin to happen, you will remember that, look, if I jump the ship, my people may not give me opportunity next time. And that is the fear that they are expressing. Otherwise, what is the difficulty? If you say you are popular and you have won an election, please transmit it from here to the collation center. Maybe any other thing can happen along the line. So if you are so comfortable that you are popular, your party is doing well for Nigerian people, why worry? So we are seeing people that are worried because they want to remain in power. But I can tell you that Nigerians are bigger. These are trial time, but Nigerians will overcome it. We'll continue to shout and talk until we will overcome it.
Okay, do you think that, what would be your best advice for Mr. President, that's President Muhammadu Buhari? Would you advise him to assent to the bills or not when it's being presented to him?
No, my appeal to Mr. President is to, now prove to Nigerian people of that saying he said that is for everybody and is for nobody. If that is correct, if they push this bill to him, especially with that clause of clause 52,
free,
he should reject it and return it back to the National Assembly so that the right thing will be done. If not for any other thing, Nigerians will remember him for giving us a process that will be just at least 90% transparent to the entire world. I know that people will complain, but let the complaint be at a very minimal level. So, Mr. President, if you can hear me, is to say that please don't assent to that bill. That bill is inimical to the Nigerian people. That bill will return us to where we used to be, where politicians will not care about the electorate, whether they campaign or not. They are sure at the election day, they will use their muscles and the financial strength to come and, bamboozle the people and get away with the result. But when you are sent to a proper hearing of the people, the bill that people are asking for, Nigerian people are asking for, people will be forced to return back to their people. Because I can tell you that there are senators, there are reps members, there are assembly members that have not gone to their constituencies since they were elected today. But they are sure, during the election period, they just come with their connection and contact, muzzle the people and have their way.
Well, we know that things will get better. We pray that things get better and then we get it right come 2023. It will be devoid of insecurity. We're still fighting with that. And what have you, we're still fighting hunger, inflation, kidnapping, and everything. But we look forward for a better Nigeria come 2023. Well, I've been speaking with the former PDP Publicity Secretary, Rivers State, and Honorable Darlington Oje, who is now the Chief of Staff to the Ikore Local Government Area Chairman. Thank you for coming on Atlantic Blowout this morning to add your voice on this issue. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, Atlantic Blowout will return in just a moment. Please stay with us and don't go away. We'll be back.
We anchor on the facts, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage. Facts, professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation.
For the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and
We anchor on the facts, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage, facts, professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts. Anchor on the facts, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide range of topics.
Atlantic Television Network, home for in-depth reportage. Facts, professionalism, all the news you need. Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network.
Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
From the lines across the ocean and beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's just 3 days to the start of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Siri, what's happening over there? Where are we going? What is the fate of Nigerians in these Olympic Games?
A whole lot has been happening, I can tell you, and ahead of the Friday's opening ceremony of the delayed Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, a special motivation bonus package has been laid out before Team Nigeria athletes in the quest for them to achieve podium finish in their events. Sports Minister Sunday Dare revealed that the bonus package has been approved for the team and that some of the athletes are already being rewarded even before the start of the games. He also revealed further that corporate organizations have assured him of hefty packages for the athletes who excelled in Tokyo, Japan. Also, President of the Nigerian Olympic Committee, Engineer Habad Ahmed Gumel, has urged the Nigerian contingent to the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, Team Nigeria, to make sure they compete clean and also come back with clean medals. Team Nigeria with 58 athletes will compete in 9 sports at the Olympic Games starting from the 23rd of July till the 8th of August 2021. Gumel acknowledged the working relationship and understanding of the Honorable Sports Minister and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, and the NOC, saying the partnership has really geared athletes for a wonderful outing here in Japan. Team Nigeria will hope to better their last outing at the Olympics in Rio in 2016, where they came back with just one bronze medal, which came in the football event by the Under-23 Eagles. And still ahead of the games, the president of the Poland Swimming Federation has apologized after 6 athletes were sent home from the Tokyo Games due to an administrative error. Poland had sent 23 swimmers to Japan, but the PSP was forced to cut the squad down to 17 based on World Governing Body's final qualifying rules. President Pavel Slominski apologized and said he fully understood the anger of the swimmers who returned home over the weekend. He said the error was due to the desire to allow as many players and coaches as possible to take part in the games. Swimming news website SwimSwam reported several Polish swimmers had signed an open letter to the PZP seeking the resignation of the organization's entire board. And as the COVID situation continues to increase, an American gymnast and a Czech beach volleyball player were added to the tally of people accredited to the Tokyo Olympic Games who have tested positive for COVID-19 this month. Tokyo Olympic organizers said 71 people have now tested positive. The total includes 31 people among the tens of thousands of international visitors expected in Japan to compete or work at the Games, which opened on Friday. Both went into 14-day quarantine, organizers have said, and the period includes all 3 of the Prodigy's scheduled Games playing partner David Schwedner. Recall that 2 South African footballers became the first competitors to test positive for coronavirus in the village over the weekend. It was also revealed that 2 members of Mexico's Olympic baseball team tested positive for COVID-19 at the team hotel before their departure for the Tokyo Olympic Games, the country baseball federation informed. The athletes have been isolated and has all team members pending results of more tests, it said. And still on grounds, on held grounds, on Monday evening, United States of America basketball announced that Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine is in health and safety protocols and will not travel with the team, but it hopes he will join the team in Tokyo later this week. Meanwhile, 6 Team Great Britain athletes have been cleared to resume training after they were identified as close contacts of an individual who is not from Team Great Britain delegation in Tokyo. The athletes and 2 staff members from the athletics team were required to isolate in their rooms at the association's preparation camp, but also to leave after they all produced multiple negative PCR results. They are training away from the other Team Great Britain athletes at the present as a precaution. Also, Kathy Lowe Samnosin, a pivotal member of the first 3 U.S. women basketball team, will now compete in the Tokyo Summer Olympics after being placed into COVID-19 health and safety protocols over the weekend. The Seattle Storm guard will be replaced by Las Vegas Ace guard Jackie Young just days before the Olympics begin. And in the midst of all of this, the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach has praised vaccine manufacturers for working on a dedicated Olympic rollout. This cooperation meant 85% of Olympic Village residents and 100% of the IOC members present here have been either vaccinated or are immune to COVID, said the President Bach. About 85% of the 101 IOC members were in the room for their first in-person meeting since January 2020. Their previous 2 meetings, including to re-elect Bach in March, were held remotely. The IOC declined to say if any member who are not vaccinated had been asked to stay away. One member missing the meeting, Ryo Seung-min of South Korea, tested positive of COVID-19 after arriving on the flight only on Saturday. The IOC leader also praised host Japan, saying billions of people around the world will follow and appreciate the Olympic Games and will admire the Japanese people for what they have achieved, insisting that the Games will send a message of peace, solidarity, and resilience, even as more athletes tested positive for the coronavirus. Bach also said cancelling the Olympic Games was never an option because the IOC never abandons athletes. Staging the Games will also secure more than $3 billion in revenue from broadcasters worldwide. It helps fund the Switzerland-based IOC, which shares hundreds of millions of dollars among the 206 national teams and also with the governing bodies of the Olympic sports. The President Bach said the IOC is contributing $1.7 billion to Tokyo organizers of the Olympics and the Paralympics. And now to the Games proper, where action at the Tokyo Olympic Games is scheduled to start on Wednesday as Japan meet Australia in softball, with each team holding vastly different stakes in the sport's return to the Games. With the Olympics getting underway a year late because of the COVID-19 pandemic, host Japan will throw the first pitch at midnight in Fukushima. Spectators remain completely banned. It will be an unusual scene for Japanese players who hail from a domestic professional league that involves cheerleaders, bands, busloads of employees from the corporate sponsors. But the Australians, who rarely compete before more than spouses and children, will now be faced by 14,300 empty seats. Australia have won silver or bronze on the 4 occasions the sport has been included at the Olympics, but never a gold medal. Softball participation fell each time despite medals, according to prayers. And away from the Games, in the motorsport, Max Verstappen Red Bull team are considering a protest against Lewis Hamilton's punishment in Sunday's controversial British Grand Prix, considering to launch an appeal against the steward's verdict, which they believe to be too lenient. Hamilton was dealt a 10-second penalty following his 190 miles per hour collision with Verstappen at Silverstone. But with the Red Bull driver was forced to retire, his Mercedes driver raced to victory, slashing the championship deficit from 33 points to only 8. Mercedes are now just 3 points behind Red Bull in the constructors' standing. If Red Bull decides to protest and are successful, Hamilton could face a points deduction disqualification from the British Grand Prix or even a 1-race ban. And from basketball, we go to from motorsport, we go to basketball, where Nneka Okomike and Elizabeth Williams won't be playing for Nigeria's women's basketball team in the Olympics after the Court of Arbitration rejected their appeal. The women NBA players had asked the Court of Arbitration of Sports to grant them a provisional clearance and add them to the roster for Tokyo Olympic Games until a hearing could occur. The pair had been notified last week by FIBA that their petition to play for the African nation had been denied because they played for the United States of America national program for too long. Okumike and her sisters have dual citizenship with the United States and Nigeria through both parents and they believe they should be eligible to represent Nigeria in Japan. Chinwe Ogumike had been granted the ability to play with Nigeria as a naturalized player. She had asked the Court of Arbitration of Sports to have her changed to giving her status as a Nigerian, the same as her sister Erica, who is also on the nation's roster, since each country is only allowed one naturalized player. Court of Arbitration of Sport denied that appeal, and as that's looking very bad for Nigeria, if you ask me. No African nation has won a game in the Olympics since Nigeria went 1-5 in the 2004 Athens Olympics. And ahead of the games, the Tigers coach Mike Brown had listed 8 NBA stars in his final 12-man roster for the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan, with Miami Heat trio of Precious Achua, Gabi Vincent, and Keze Okpala set to make their debut at the Global Sports Showpiece. The Nigerians are built to open their Olympic campaigns against Australia at the Saitama Arena in Tokyo on the 25th of July, with hopes of making it to the knockout stages after the impressive outing at their recent exhibition games in Las Vegas, where they beat #1 ranked United States of America and 4th ranked Argentina. Joe Okoji of Minnesota Timberwolves player, Mie Oni of Utah Jazz, and we have Jordan Nwora of Milwaukee Bucks, Caleb Agada of Hapoel Shelva, Obio Megana of Florida of Spain, Chimeze Metu of the Sacramento Kings, Ike Nwamu of Samara, Russia, Ikpe Udo and Jahil Okafor of Detroit Pistons are all in the line to fight for a starting bet at the games. The players who failed to make the final roster are Michael Gbenje of the Nevis Kedenia, Sanukoye of Gran Canaria, Ike Ruebu of Elan Chalon, and Chima Monike. The Tigers will now face Australia, Germany, and Italy in the group of death, if you ask me, in the men's Olympic basketball event. Meanwhile, the Tigers coach Otis Huli, in his 12-man roster for the Olympics, kept faith with veteran captain Adaora Elonu, Aisha Bararabaye, and of course Elizabeth Balogun, Promise Amukabara, Atonye Ningifa, Ezinne Kalu, Palace Kunaye Apana, Ifi Bekwe, Odera Chindom, and Victoria Makole makes the list. Erica Okumike and Ami Okonkwo completed completely. The Tigers will open their Olympics account against the United States of America, who they lost 93-62 in an exhibition game on Monday on July the 27th, before squaring up against France and host Japan. Notably absent are Nneka Kumike and Elizabeth Williams, who were denied to represent Nigeria's women's team by FIBA after failing with an appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Let's go to football now, where England Football Association has commissioned an independent review to look into the disturbances during the Euro 2020 final games against Italy at Wembley. The country's soccer governing body said on Monday the final won by Italy in a penalty shootout was marred by clashes between English fans and officials in and around the stadium. The FA said it had informed the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sports, adding that the review will be led by Baroness Casey of Blackstock, with external experts also being sought to weigh in. British police arrested a total of 86 people and said 19 officers were injured after several ticketless fans breached security condoms. Meanwhile, Europe's soccer governing body UEFA also said it had appointed an ethics and disciplinary inspector to conduct separate investigation into the events involving supporters which occurred inside and around the stadium. In more concerning the development, a Premier League footballer has been arrested on suspicion of child sex offences and suspended by his club. It was revealed on Monday night. A player who, for legal reasons yet to be named, was arrested last week by Greater Manchester Police and was released on bail pending further inquiries. In a statement, Greater Manchester Police said officers arrested a 31-year-old man on Friday, July 16th, on suspicion of child sex offences. He is on police bail pending further inquiry. A spokesman for his club said the club can confirm it has suspended a first-team player pending police investigation. The club will continue to support the authorities with their inquiries and will not be making any further statement at this time. It is also reported that Everton have suspended a first-team player pending police investigation. The Premier League said on Tuesday they did not identify the player or any details about the police skate. And still on legal matters, the arbitration hearing between Newcastle United and the Premier League intended to resolve the legitimacy or otherwise of the clause blocked £300 million Saudi Arabian-led takeover has reached an impasse. In a statement, Newcastle and the Premier League on Monday night announced the hearing had been adjourned until early 2022 due to issues with the disclosure of evidence. Mike Ashley, Newcastle owner, has initiated the legal action in the hope of forcing through a buyout which collapsed last summer, but it has now hit another wall. Last month, Newcastle had applied for the claim to be heard in a public forum and insisted he had nothing to hide from such transparency, but it is believed there was a reluctance to disclose a particular pieces of evidence on the part of both sides. The takeover originally collapsed last year when, amid concern regarding alleged Saudi brokers' piracy, the potential buyers were unable to successfully complete the Premier League owners and directors test with the ruling, but indicating there was insufficient separation between Saudi state and the professional league body. Finally, I would like to close with some transfer stories. Ghanaian teenager Kawadin Suleimani will meet up with his new teammates at French club Rennes after a training camp in Spain this week. After a very big money move from Nochdea, Rennes have reportedly paid the Danish side a total of more than $23 million for the winger, with 75% of that fee to be paid up front for the 19-year-old. Suleimana has signed a 5-year deal with the French league side after he scored 10 times and weighed in with 8 assists in the Danish league last season. Suleimana has won 2 caps for the senior Ghana team, both coming in last year in the friendlies against Mali and Qatar.
Well, Siri, so much in the sporting world. There are 2 things for me, though. I must commend Japan for the strict compliance to COVID-19 protocols and also making sure that everyone gets tested before the game commenced. And also, too, I must give it to the Nigerian government, and also looking for the moment when we'll come home with
medals.
We know what I mean. Before this time, at least they have given them some
palliative,
so to say, for them to just give them the courage, encourage them to do more. And we're looking forward for that moment for me, Cyril.
I think the incentive given to the athletes has been unprecedented. We've never had this kind of a support before from private individuals, from government, and from corporate bodies. So I think the athletes are in a better frame of mind to deliver medals to Nigeria. It's not easy. The Olympics is the biggest sporting event you can find around the world.
Yes.
And we expect that with this level of motivation, Nigeria should be smiling. We've just in the last Olympics we had only 1 bronze medal. We want to see silver and even gold this time around. Yes.
I think I join my faith with you, Siri. Right. All right, that's the program for today. Thank you so very much for spending your time with us this morning. Of course, we also urge you to join us again tomorrow morning for a fresh edition as we take a look at issues happening around the globe and to bring them up to speed for you, especially now that the Olympic Games is beginning. I'm looking forward for the opening ceremony. We'll be transmitting that as well. Thanking you so much for your time, and I do ask you to also follow us on all our social media handles. Facebook and YouTube is at Atlantic Television Network. Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. And also want to urge that every opinion of my guests this morning on this show are solely theirs and not that of Atlantic Television Network. My name is Chituga Diamond. Many thanks for watching, and see you again tomorrow. And happy Salah to our Christian faithfuls. Have a great day, and bye for now.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.